So we have a lot of work to do. It isn't just about the election in 2012. We have to create amazing alliances that haven't yet been created. And there's one guy that I'm working with, a former leftist by the name of Brandon Darby, and he created, I think it's called Citizen Patriot, Citizens Patriot Response. He's a former leftist, and he is down in Texas, and he's working with Tea Parties to try and help when there's a natural disaster. And this was the guy that went down to Katrina to help out in the lower Ninth Ward when he was a radical leftist. He ended up turning in 2 of his pals to the FBI who were planning on bombing the Republican National Convention. And he is now the #1 target of the organized left, including the media, which have made about 3 documentaries trying to portray him as a snitch. PBS aired the documentary in which they blatantly lied about him. He's suing the New York Times, and he's going to win. Yeah. Because they tried to portray him as being complicit in this. Because they will go after Andrew Breitbart, they will go after David Horowitz, they'll go after David Mamet, they'll go after Dennis Miller, they'll go after all the apostates, they'll go after Clarence Thomas, they'll go after Alan West, they'll go after Thomas Sowell, go after Sarah Palin, they'll go after Michelle Bachmann, they go after the apostates, they go after the women, they go after minorities, because they know if they lose 5% of the minority community, it's over for them, and we're on the precipice of that victory. And so I remember down in Houston, back in February, when there was no inkling of this, and it's on tape. This is at the height of the Democratic Party, saying racist, 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 racist. I'm in Houston. And I say to these people, so, we're about 1.5 years away from the election. What if in 2012 the Republican Party put up a Tea Party candidacy of Herman Cain and Alan West? And the place on video erupted. I mean, just like erupted, like home run, bottom of the 9th, Game 7, the World Series. Kirk Gibson, sorry Oakland, I was there. They erupted. And do you see what's happening right now? As even the establishment conservative movement was like, it's Romney. Yeah. It's Perry. It's Romney. It's Perry. It's Romney. And they're fighting each other. Oh, isn't that cute? And Herman Cain wins the straw poll in Florida. Even I, part of the Tea Party, think of Florida as like Crackerville. You know, I'm like, wow, if Florida GOP is for Herman Cain, what happens with when the rest of the country, who's realized that the media is full of crap and is trying to tell you what to think, and we start thinking for ourselves and go, this guy seems to be the only guy up there that's Reagan-esque. He's the only guy that's a happy warrior. He's the only one that has any history in the real world. So Sarah Palin doesn't jump in. I can't even think of anyone on the map right now other than Herman Cain, who's fighting the fight. That's just my opinion. I'm not going to force you to have them. Next.
Is it true that in November the FCC is going to implement net neutrality regulations?
I have no idea. And Google it.
Would that impact your website, conservative websites?
Oh, do they want to go to war? Bring it.
You mentioned that Acorn has been defeated, but they've
defunded a symbolic victory. Do I think that the individuals who are involved are up to no good and that they're not getting federal funding through other means? Of course they are, and we should be vigilant about that, and those are the tips that I benefit from, and so I'm constantly vigilant, as you should be. But what has been most effective is that we're now cognizant of what community organizing is, and we know it when we see it.
Yeah, I just want to add, Judicial Watch just came out with a list of how ACORN morphed in each state. And in California, ACORN is ACCES. They show up with yellow t-shirts, and they show up at these MTC and ABAG meetings for social justice.
Yeah, one night I looked them up, and I saw them with their yellow shirts down, like at the Embarcadero, and I saw them. It's the same old social justice sloganeering, but we now know that it's AstroTurf. We now know that if you go up to them with cameras and ask them basic questions such as, you're protesting minimum wage, right? Yeah. Are they paying you minimum wage to be here? No. You don't see that contradiction? Okay, thanks. You just provided about 50,000 views tonight on YouTube. Thanks. Next. I mean, this is how cynical the media, the Democrat media complex is that ACORN and SEIU would protest Acme janitorial supplies. And the way that they would do it was they would cynically, how would I describe it in TSA terms? They would ethnically profile, and they'd get Hispanic and black people to wear either purple SEIU shirts or red ACORN shirts to create a visual of at a protest at Acme Janitorial Supply. They'd call Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 7, Channel 9, and Channel 11, and the Action News vans would go there, and when the cameras were on, they would sing their social justice slogans, and their designated cynical spokesperson would give the party line, which was a shakedown on said Acme Janitorial Supply. They put it on TV, and it acted as a shakedown because their neighbors would say, I thought you ran an honest organization, Gus. And they said, seems that you're a racist at a janitorial supply company that's unfair to your workers. You can't win when the mainstream media is colluding with the unions and the social justice organizations, and that's what they were doing for the longest time. But all of us, within the last 3 years, thanks to this miraculous, magical gentleman by the name of Barack Obama, who came from this world of community organizing, who introduced us to his magical friend, Van Jones, we now know that this is what they do. They're street thugs who dress nicely and have nice teeth.
Since Glenn Beck left the air in June, I've heard that you may have insider information about what happened. Would you be willing to share that with us?
On what? His laptop?
On leaving Fox.
If you don't have something nice to say about an individual, don't say anything at all. Next.
Thanks for being here. My name is Jason White, and I just have a question. There's a law that's going to be coming into effect in January of 2012, and it has to do with the contributions of the homosexual community, and it will be implemented into all our curriculum, California's curriculum, K through 12. And since you might have an insight since you're on the council for Go Proud, maybe you might have
I don't know anything about that, but that's, I don't know anything about it, and I've said this to Jimmy at Go Proud, and I and Chris, the two heads of Go Proud, and they're very conservative, is that the left uses multiculturalism as its cudgel, and it uses Black power as a weapon, and it uses gay pride as a weapon. And what it does is it tries to create the perception that every black person is of one intellectual or philosophical mindset, and that every gay person out there is of an intellectual, same philosophical and intellectual mindset. And I reject that premise, and that good and decent gay people have every right to be conservative and to believe in Judeo-Christian values and to believe in freedom and liberty, and to think that certain things that are being pushed by the radical gay left are deviant and awful and intentionally contrarian to Judeo-Christian mores in a Judeo-Christian society. And there's a lot of acting out going on, and what it does is it creates, for many people who are conservative, to have an unfair take on a community that's much more diverse than the media would allow for you to believe. I don't know if that's an answer.
So I read the legislation, and it's very specific. And so that's fair enough. I can understand we may not have the full scope on that situation. However, would you be, since you're on a council for them, would you be willing to have myself, or one of my Stop SB 48 comrades, connect with them, that they could have an official stop?
Well, email me at andrew@breitbart.com. That's my email. And almost every person here has something that they want to educate me on. And again, I'm only one person, so I can't become fully educated on a complicated issue and give you follow through. But email me at that email. Thanks.